AI tool watched this man and decided he was sad and angry. It is more than half of what it saw.
If somebody offered me a deal when I was 20 and said, you're going to live 1 year longer, instead of living to 88, you'll live to 89 or whatever it may be, if you eat nothing but broccoli and Brussels sprouts and onions and all these things, I just said, I'll, take the last year off. It probably won't be that good anyway. So I eat what I like to eat. I'm not venturesome in that area.
I like how you lumped in onions with broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Never heard that.
I just don't happen to like onions, but I don't put them in the same category.
Okay.
This is Warren Buffett. And the thing that judge him is an AI tool that companies now use to screen job candidates. It helps decide who gets a call back and who gets a silent no. I took 3 of the most successful people alive and ran them through the same AI tools that judge job candidates. By the end, you will know what these tools saw, where they argued with each other, where they argued with themselves, and you will be able to decide one thing for yourself, whether you would trust this to judge you. I'm not against AI. I hold an AI patent and I spent 17 years in tech. I was quoted in People Managing People on this exact problem. And I said one line there, I'm going to prove to you now. A signal can be measured accurately and still interpreted incorrectly. I'm Tatiana Teppoeva, and I have run over 100 interviews myself. So when I tell you these hiring tools cannot read a person, I'm not guessing. Here is why this matters. If a tool can be confidently wrong about something you can check with your own eyes, then it can be wrong about everything you cannot check as well. And these tools are not just screening billionaires. They are screening you, your children, your grandchildren, the people you love, judged by a machine that cannot explain itself, with no one to appeal to. And if you run hiring, it's worse, because you are the one who have to answer when a candidate asks why. And the answer, because the computer said so, will not cut it. 3 faces you know. Let me show you what it did with Warren first.
Is business school worth it?
Depends on the person, much more than it depends on the school. I mean, I wouldn't worry. Some people are going to get a lot out of advanced education, and some people are going to get very little. And I don't even think it's important that every person go to college at all. I mean, we have all kinds of jobs at 70 or so thousand a year, or 80,000 a year that college training is not of use. And I actually was not keen on going to college. Really? Myself. Yeah, my dad kind of jollied me into it. He could get me to do anything. But if they'd had an SAT test in those days, he would have taken the test for me. but because I knew I could have a good time, and I liked investing, and I didn't really feel I could read the books. So I don't, it's a big commitment to take 4 years, and the cost involved, and maybe the loans involved and everything. And I think depending on what your interests are in life, I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's for a lot of people. But there ought to be a reason you're going. And I didn't really see much reason.
Here is what I saw. And let's keep in mind, though, that I was reading him as a stranger from 90 seconds of footage, exactly like the machine is, without looking at his baseline, stress reaction, etc. He looked human, relaxed. He was not performing for anyone. He was just telling you what he thinks, and he didn't seem to care much how it landed. He was man at ease, thinking out loud, seems approachable and humanly warm. The AI machine gave him 30%. And here is the strange part. The same tool that failed him also called his eye contact perfect, his presence authoritative, his delivery is something to copy. It liked almost everything about how he spoke. And it failed him anyway, because he didn't package his answer into a tidy story with a beginning, a middle, and a measurable result. He gave an opinion like a person, but the tool wanted a script and another face expression. And the tool could not even agree with itself. Its camera read him as sad and angry. Its microphone on the very same clip heard approval and amusement and calm. One half of the machine watched a sad bitter man, the other half heard a content with a laugh. Both cannot be true. I will tell you which one matched what I noticed, and so will your own eyes. The most trusted investor in America failed the AI screen. Now let's move to the next man, Elon Musk. Watch his eyes, because this is the whole video in one moment.
Well, I suppose honestly that it tends to be gut feel more than anything else. So when I interview somebody, my interview question is always the same. It's
What do you
just,
ask?
I said, tell me the story of your life and the decisions that you made along the way and why you made them. And then, and also tell me about some of the most difficult problems you worked on and how you solved them. And that question, I think, is very important, because the people that really solved the problem, they know exactly how they solved it. They know the little details. And the people that pretended to solve the problem, they can maybe go one level and then they get stuck.
He gives a piece of an answer, then he checks the interviewer's face to see if it landed, to decide whether to keep going on that track. That is not a confident man delivering. That is a man reading the room in real time, a little unsure where he stands and if he can continue with his angle. Warm 1 second, guarded the next. My human read from these 90 seconds is that I wouldn't know what to expect from him, and I don't like surprises. The AI tool watched those same eyes and gave him a perfect score for eye contact. Confident, strong connection, engaged. It saw him looking at the interviewer and called it certainty. I saw him looking at the interviewer to find out if what he was saying was okay. But the machine scored the behavior. It has no idea about the reason behind it, and it will never tell the person reading the hiring dashboard that it doesn't know the difference. Elon is the only one of these three the tool tried to correct on his accent. It told him to lengthen his vowels and to stress the word interview the American way, to sound, in its words, more clear. The two other men born in America got no such note. The one born somewhere else got told to sound less like himself. I'm showing you one clip, so I'm not going to call that a pattern, but I'm going to let you sit with it. The same way a candidate would have to with the screening results and job acceptance or rejection. And this is not just him. Researchers at MIT found these AI video tools score people who didn't grow up speaking English noticeably lower on communication, even when they say the exact same words. So Elon's score was 28%. And now let's look at Mark Zuckerberg.
Things that I look for are, number one is just raw intelligence, right? Because I mean, you can hire someone who's a software engineer and has been doing it for 10 years, and if they're doing it for 10 years, then that's probably what they're doing for their life, you know? And I mean, that's cool, but there's some things that that person can do, and they're definitely useful within an organization and can do a lot of stuff. But if you find someone whose raw intelligence exceeds theirs, but has 10 years less of experience, then they can probably adapt and learn way quicker, you know, and within a very short amount of time, be able to do a lot of things that that person may never be able to do. And so I think that that's the most important thing that I look for. And the second is just alignment with what we're trying to do. So I mean, people can be really smart or have skills that are directly applicable, but if they don't really believe in it, then they're not gonna really work hard, and they're not gonna, even if they're that smart guy who doesn't have the relevant experience, they're not gonna care enough to develop the relevant experience in order to succeed. So I mean, I think that the best people who I've hired so far have been people who didn't really have that much engineering experience. I mean, I hired a couple of electrical engineers out of Stanford to do programming stuff, and they had very little programming experience going in, but just really smart, really willing to go at it. And I mean, the guy who just wrote photos was one of those guys. And I mean, if you're willing to just go and do whatever it takes to get photos out, then you know you're probably more valuable than someone who's just a career software engineer. So those are the things that I'm looking for and why I would rather recruit people.
He sounded like somebody who knows it all, like he thinks he's completely in control of the answer. And underneath the control, I got the feeling that I might not matter to him very much as a person, that it could be all fairly transactional. And that is my read. Your read can be somewhat different and it's okay, but try to look at him as if you don't know anything about him and see him for the first time. Now look at what the AI tool says about his eyes, because this is the part where we should pause. One AI tool counted his blinks, the other AI tool watched the same seconds and said his eyes were darkling and blinking rapidly, that he looked nervous and unsettled. Same eyes, same minute. One says he never blinks, the other says he will not stop. And two tools cannot agree. He scored the lowest of the three at 25%. He came in last. But the difference between three of them is not that large, which means none of them passed. Not the most trusted investor alive, not the richest man in the world, not the one who built the platform half of the planet logs into. And as a final touch, the tool decided his close celebrity match was Kim Kardashian. The other two, it matched to a tennis champion. Make of that what you want. All three failed, 30%, 28, and 25. When researchers ran candidates through three different tools, the tools agreed with each other less than a quarter of the time. And before anyone says humans are no better, that same study found we are not. People disagree too. The difference is a person will tell you it's a judgment. The machine hands you a number and calls it a fact. And yes, I happen to rank them in almost the same order the machine did, but I wouldn't rate them that low. Warren at the top for me too. If I had to choose someone to work with from them based on their 90 seconds, it would be Warren. Just judging based on videos. Important point here is that a tool that lands on the right answer for a reason it cannot explain is still a tool you cannot defend when a candidate stands in front of you and asks, why? And we shouldn't hand something we cannot rely on the power to decide the most important moment in a person's working life, and which sometimes can affect the whole life. As I put it in People Managing People article, the question has already moved. It's no longer, does the AI tool work? It is, can you explain and defend how it and its results were used? So before you decide to rely on AI tool, ask yourself, would you let this AI tool judge yourself or someone you love make a decision regarding a callback, a career, a life? If this changed how you see this video screening AI tools, do two things. Like the video so more people find it, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been judged by a hiring process and never find out why? If you run hiring and this worried you, I help HR teams build the human layer that catches what the algorithm gets wrong. A link is below. These were moments where the official score and the real person didn't match. Those are the ones I study and help with.